You're going to love Rufus. Is this the sound of freedom? American jazz meets the Scottish bagpipes in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia is the city that's carrying the sound for the whole solar system.
Who is Rufus Harley, and how did John Kennedy's funeral inspire him? Trivia question for you tonight. Where do the paths of American jazz and native Scottish music cross? The answer, Philadelphia, a place that one of the most unique entertainers in America calls his home. Now, he's not going to give any major competition to Streisand, Sinatra, or Two Live Crew, but it's safe to say that he has got the biggest pipes of all. Tonight, you'll meet Rufus Harley, a big star in his own right who has turned the jazz world upside down, not only because he plays one of the meanest jazz saxophones around, but his jazz goes even further. Hard to believe, but he's known as the king of the bagpipes.
Is the foundation of the American culture. We like to have oil and gas and different minerals and diamonds that are valuable. Sound is equally valuable, if not more.
It's safe to say there aren't many out there like Rufus Harley. You might find him playing his bagpipes anywhere in the city. At night, he'll drop into area clubs to jam. During the day, sometimes he'll stop at the Liberty Bell to play patriotic melodies as somewhat befuddled tourists look on. No matter where he winds up, Rufus finds a unique way of enjoying the world.
I've played America the Beautiful on the bagpipes, and when I went round the bell and played it, man, the sun came up, and I looked up at the sun and felt the spirit come off the bell, man. I'm messed up over that one, if you really want to know the truth, man.
In November of 1963, along with the rest of the nation, Rufus watched the funeral of President Kennedy. Since then, his world changed. His world has revolved around Scottish bagpipes ever since he heard the Black Watch bagpipers as they marched in that funeral procession.
When I was watching the burial services of President Kennedy, I heard the bagpipes, and I was working for the housing authorities down in North Philly. And I said, I wish it was something that I could do.
What Rufus did was find this, his first set of bagpipes, in a New York City pawn shop a month later. But he almost remained a struggling saxophonist.
Took the rent money, man. It was $120. Here I go. Never been to New York before. So the pawnbroker thought I was going crazy. And he said, you sure that this is what you want, bagpipes? So I looked out, ain't nothing to this, a bunch of bags, a bunch of sticks. So I tried it up and tried to blow the bag up, but I couldn't blow the bag up. And I gave the pawnbroker back the bagpipes, took the $120, because I could see that this was going to be rough. You know what I'm trying to say?
Rufus turned back and bought the bagpipes, and 4 long years later, in 1967, he crossed paths with a local disc jockey named Joel Dorn.
I remember you sent me a tape of the thing in Paris, the concert you did in Paris. It was wild. They got in it. I'd heard about this jazz bagpipe player, and I wanted to be a record producer, and I was looking for stuff that was, you know, like different. So he was perfect.
The pair produced 4 albums together. The biggest hit, Rufus's King Queens, released in 1970. People started coming out to hear jazz bagpipes.
He wasn't gimmicky about it. It wasn't a novelty to him, you know, in like the Ed Sullivan, you know, plate spinner, you know, sense. He was really into it. He's sincere with it.
One of the many people Rufus inspired in the late 60s was an up-and-coming saxophone player, Grover Washington Jr.
Music really reflects life, and it's a mirror right into Rufus's soul. You know, so you can see laughter, you can see tears, you can see hard bop, you can see contemporary, you can see a little funk, you know, and that's what living is all about. He is a great ambassador for the city.
Rufus Harley is intensely loyal to the city he grew up in. He lives in the Germantown section of Philadelphia, been in the same house since 1958. He surrounds himself with an unusual assortment of odds and ends picked up around the world. In a way, to look at his possessions tells you a lot about Rufus Harley. He's a very spiritual man with a strong desire to unite people through music. And when he speaks, the words seem to flow, just like that music.
I heard a voice in me a little while back say that, hey, the music is in the sun. And if the music is in the sun, it's about the sound. So we as a people, I'm talking about the American people, especially Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the city that's carrying the sound for the whole solar system.
One of the Philadelphia people Rufus is most fond of and indebted to is his longtime music teacher, Dennis Sandoli.
There's a quarter note in there again, Dennis, right in between. Okay, so now?
The two have met faithfully for a lesson every Monday for the past 35 years. Get a load of this. They both told me they've never even had a disagreement, let alone a fight in all that time. Rufus has the highest regard for his teacher.
So this man has always been your mentor.
Oh, yes, sir.
You're 57 years old. You still treat him like the master.
Well, he's been a brother and a father, too, to me. Dennis Sandoli, he raised me from a baby. I mean, I was 22. He pampered me, bottle and everything, you know. And Dennis Sandoli writes prescriptions in music like the way a medical doctor would write a prescription.
I found in the years of teaching a line of demarcation between very talented individuals and those that are gifted. Now, Rufus is very gifted.
Rufus's gift has earned him a certain celebrity status. He's appeared on numerous TV shows and once stumped the panel on the old What's My Line show. They did not have a clue what he did for a living. He's met and worked with scores of famous people. Here are some of his favorites, and only Rufus can describe them. Ray Charles.
I did a television show here in Philadelphia with Ray Charles. Ray Charles is one of the carriers of the sound, and he has helped to keep the solar system in balance and in harmony.
Muhammad Ali.
He had a lot of courage and his convictions to keep that energy strong so we can sustain ourselves as a people, too, and as a nation.
Mayor Ed Rendell.
When I'm around Ed Rendell, I play halali guitar, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, on the bagpipes, to let him know that the bagpipes is still part of the Jewish culture.
Rufus has traveled the world playing his bagpipes. He was most impressed with Red Square in Moscow.
They have a 300-ton bell sitting on the ground with a great big crack in it. You think the crack in the Liberty Bell is cracked. They got one so big you can walk in it. You see what I'm trying to say?
No matter where he goes, a sense of wonder follows. The children in the Richard Allen Housing Project marvel at the man dressed in red playing those weird bagpipes. But he's also the master of other instruments.
A very unique element to the jam session. As we all know, he's a very talented person, known all over the world, and his feeling, his musical feeling, and the aura he has is just incredible.
Rufus says he'll keep playing music until they tell him to stop. He believes it's what he was meant to do. His fondest dream is that we all find the music we're meant to play.
We all have a part to play of getting this big orchestra together on this big bandstand that we call Earth. And if we can get everybody to understand their instrument, then we home free.
You know what? We ought to send Rufus to the United Nations. In reality, his music is his life. Watching him practice with his teacher was a real experience for me. I mean, he listens to the master like a child would, knowing that even at this stage, there's a lot to learn and a lot more music to play. It's really great to see an entertainer who performs because he has to feel alive, and because it's fun, and for the joy of making people happy, and of course, to keep the cosmic harmony, whatever that means, flowing out from Philadelphia. Someday, Rufus will explain that to me when the bulletin returns.
This is KYW-TV, Philadelphia.
Meet Rufus Harley, one of Philadelphia's lesser-known jazz artists. It's true that he doesn't own any gold records for his music, and he's never made it to the top 40s chart. But his unique brand of jazz has delighted audiences throughout the world. Even if you've never seen Rufus, you instantly know that it's not his music that makes you look at him twice. It's obviously the clothes he wears. But in just a short while, you'll see that his clothes go well with the mixed bag he plays. Not only is Rufus an accomplished saxophonist, oboe, and flutist, he's also the world's first jazz bagpipe player, and his record speaks for itself. He has recorded with jazz greats like Sonny Rollins and Herbie Mann. He's performed for the Queen of England, and he's played to audiences both in Italy and France.
What can you get out of the bagpipes that you can't get out of the saxophone?
Okay, well, the difference in the the bagpipes and the saxophone is that the bagpipes sustain. I call it the mother instrument, you know. Like the saxophone only plays single notes. Can I demonstrate for you?
Yes.
Can I demonstrate for you? Okay. Now, this is the saxophone. And, you know, the sound, you can only, once you blow it,
During the early 60s and 70s, Rufus was a frequent performer in area clubs, and he's made several albums, including Bagpipe Blues in 1966, Scotch and Soul in 1967, and finally, Kings and Queens in the early 70s. His most recent album, released in 1987, is Harley's Comet.
A lot of people are going to sit down and look at you as a black musician and say that nowhere in our culture, at least, do we see in American black culture any signs of bagpipes being a part of our music.
my brother said one day that we're not too much concerned about the bagpipes, but we do know where Rufus Harley come from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Rufus Harley came from North Philly, born and bred in North Philly, you know. So if the bagpipes is anything, it's what Rufus Harley is about.
His career began 40 years ago when he bought his first saxophone out of earnings from selling newspapers and shining shoes on city streets. But it was only after watching the burial services of the late President John F. Kennedy in 1963 that Rufus decided he wanted to play the bagpipe.
The sound stuck with me. And then I found myself trying to make the saxophone sound like a bagpipe. And I found myself trying to make all the instruments sustain, but it wouldn't sustain. So I bought this set of pipes out of a pawn shop in New York.
Today, 51-year-old Rufus Harley is often seen at special events like this one. It was a birthday party given in honor of the 4th year of lunchtime performances by the group, the Reading Terminal. Rufus and his bagpipes had no problems fitting in with this very recognizable group. Judge Richard Klein was on drums. Philadelphia's housing director Ed Swartz played the keyboard. Architect Herbie Dijon on bass. And Inquirer writer Frank Rossi played the guitar. So the next time you see a black man wearing a kilt and playing a bagpipe, you'll know it's Philadelphia's own Rufus Harley.
For the 27th year in a row, Zion Baptist Church in North Philadelphia opened its doors to an all-faith service in honor of Dr. King. The service is sponsored by the Philadelphia branch of the NAACP, along with Operation Push and the Black Clergy of Philadelphia.
And people from all over our region celebrated the birthday of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. This all-faith service was held at Zion Baptist Church in North Philadelphia. The service was organized by the local chapter of the NAACP, Operation Push, and the Black Clergy of Philadelphia. In memory of Dr. King, people donated blankets for local homeless shelters.
And it's time to pay the piper.
You might also see Rufus Harley, an accomplished jazz bagpiper. We're listening to the beautiful sounds now. And Goodwill Ambassador for the city of Philadelphia. Rufus has traveled from Moscow to Paris to Jamaica, representing the Liberty Belt of presidents and world leaders alike on behalf of the city of brotherly love and sisterly.
All right. Welcome back to Tell the Truth. Panel and audience, you know the way the game is played. All three of our gentlemen here claim to be the real Rufus Harley. Two are lying, and only one has signed his statement swearing to tell the truth. Your job will be to find out who that is. So open up the affidavits you have in front of you and follow along as I read the sworn testimony of the real Rufus Harley. I, Rufus Harley, am the world's first and only jazz bagpiper. My pipe dream started when I saw the Black Watch Bagpipers march in President Kennedy's funeral procession. Soon after, I got my first Scottish Highland pipe from a pawn shop and have been piping hot ever since. Although many in the jazz world told me to pipe down, a couple of jazz greats thought I was a breath of fresh air and gave me a break. For the past 4 decades, I have performed across Europe and America, holding my pipes in a non-traditional way. Now, some folks think bagpipes are an ill wind that blows no one any good, but check out my CD. Will you dig it? I know that you will. Signed, Rufus Harley. All right. Panel and audience, all three of our gentlemen here claim to be the real jazz bagpiper. Which one is it? Meshack Taylor, question begins with you.
Thank you, John. You know something? I went to Florida A&M University, and we had an incredible jazz department there. It's people who have arranged for some of the jazz greats all around. So I was exposed to all sorts of players who played all sorts of different types of instruments in the jazz idiom. And when I saw these three gentlemen walk out with bagpipes, my first question was going to be, who is Rufus Harley? And until the lights came on, and then I knew who it was. So I have to recuse myself because I know who Rufus Harley is.
Oh.
And it's based on your knowledge of jazz.
Of jazz.
See, I thought perhaps it was either the bagpipe or your knowledge of men in skirts.
No, not this time.
Okay. All right. We have a recusement. That's fine. We move on to Paula Poundstone.
Number two, did you realize that if you took that little hair purse that you wear in front of the kilt and Velcroed it to your head, you could have made $40 million?
Thanks for the blessing.
Let's see. Number three, you know there are horns on your head, do you not?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just checking in with you. Are there different kinds of bagpipes?
Yes, there are. This is a Scottish Highland bagpipe. You also have the Irish bagpipe.
Number one, why the Irish people play the bagpipes as well?
Yes, they do. The Irish has 2 bags opposed to the Scottish who has 1.
And number two, what do the bags do?
Oh, well, the bag is just a bag that holds air in it like a grocery bag, that's all.
But in the event of an emergency, it will not inflate. Is that correct, number two?
And in some cases will be your flotation device. Louis, on to you.
Now,
Why do you have those horns on number 3? No. Do you know what song, number 3, do you know what song they were playing at President Kennedy's funeral?
Amazing Grace.
And number 2, who's Chet Baker?
Chet Baker plays trumpet.
And number 1, who invented the bagpipe? Was it the Scottish or the Irish?
Actually, it was the Scottish.
Okay. And how long does it take to learn it? Is it a long process? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, who asked it?
Number.
Oh, number 4. Number 2.
You know, you fit right in here. You're very good at this game. You just picked it up.
Number 2.
Yes.
How are you? Good. How long does it take to learn to play the bagpipes?
It's up to the individual.
It is. And is it
Too short a time sometimes, isn't it? Natalie, on to you.
Thanks, Sean. Number 2, do you play any other instruments other than the bagpipe?
Oh, yes. I play the saxophone, flute, oboe, all these other reeds, yes.
Okay. Number 3, do you, and what are they?
Well, I play the clarinet, sax, oboe, flute.
Oh. All right, tell the sound of time is up. Time for our celebrity panel to lock in their votes without discussion. Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3? And at this point, I'll ask our studio audience here to cast their votes as well. While everybody is voting, I'm going to remind you our team of challengers receives $1,000 for every incorrect vote. And we're going to be right back and find out how they voted and who the real jazz bagpiper is right here on To Tell the Truth. All right, welcome back to Tell the Truth. One of our challengers is the real jazz bagpiper, Rufus Harley. We're going to pay $1,000 for every incorrect vote. Meshack has already had to recuse himself based on prior knowledge of what we're not really sure. So we move on to Paula. For whom did you vote?
I don't have any idea. Number 1 looks too young to have seen the funeral procession for...
But you know how black people are. They just don't, you know, blacks don't crack. What can I say?
That's a good point, but it's too late to change my vote. I'm thinking maybe it's number 2, and I'm happy that I was able to give him that tip.
Louis Anderson.
Well, number 2 knew who Chet Baker was, and I don't think most people do. I think most jazz people do. And I just thought the hat was great.
The hat was great.
And the horns were just frightening to me. And I agree with that. Number 1, I doesn't look old enough, but now Meshack is. But I went with number 2.
All right, another vote for number 2. Sally?
I'm definitely with everybody else on number 1, looking way too young. And number 3, I don't buy the hat. So I definitely think number 2 and all his musical talents, knowing how to play so many instruments.
All righty. 1 recused vote, and everybody else went for number 2. Let's see what our audience thought. Ooh, all right, rather convincingly, again for number 2. I'll tell you, if it's a guy in the end with the horns, we're all going to be eating a little bit of crow, but it's time now to find out which one of our players is the real jazz bagpiper. Will the real Rufus Harley please stand up? It is. All right. Rufus, have a seat. Have a seat. We'll come back to you in just a minute. Let's meet our team of very well-outfitted imposters, I will admit.
Hey, put those horns back on.
I want that for the next segment.
Let's meet our team of imposters right now. Number 1, you did a nice job.
My name is Lamont Goodlow, and I have a small e-business that I sell clothes and oils.
Wonderful. Thank you for being with us. And now that we have shorn you on the end there, number 3, who are you and what do you do?
All right.
My name is Fred Black. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a former Mr. Black Los Angeles.
Really? Well, congratulations. Are the horns yours, or is that something they pulled out of Louis' dressing room?
These are Rufus's horns.
They're Rufus's horns.
Right.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, I'm glad he brought them. Oh, my goodness. I thought that was alive. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, Rufus Harley, decked out. Now, Rufus, you do have a CD here that I want to hold up. It's called Rufus Harley, the Pied Piper of Jazz. How about that? You have a single incorrect vote. That will be split. That's $1,000 split among our team of challengers. We're going to have Rufus play out. As we leave you today, and to tell the truth, I say goodbye to Meshack Taylor, Paula Poundstone, Louis Anderson, and Natalie Rattano. John O'Hurley saying I'll see you next time right here on To Tell the Truth.
Jazz bagpipe. One of the greatest artists walk planet Earth.
He's known internationally in Europe and places like that.
We even have an artist who did a life-size painting of him.
Does he play like any Pink Floyd music? He's a jazz bagpipe player, and I believe he's from Philadelphia. Rufus Harley? I never heard of him.
1, 2, 3, 4. I tell you. So wake up. It's time.
Put that on. Now, this is the bagpipe, and this goes to the Scottish and the Irish culture. So usually when I travel, they said, when I play the bagpipe, they say, which part of Scotland and Ireland are you from? I just tell them I'm from the American part, and then that solves that. My mother went to a reader, and this reader told her in North Carolina that she was carrying a musician. And one day she's going to see him on a picture screen, like a mirror, you know. You're talking about 75, 80 years ago, you see. And when my mother was carrying me, she said, well, if this is a boy, I don't want it to be a musician. And that's just what I turned out to be. When I first got my first gig playing the bagpipes, I was working with a group called the Joe Whelan Group here in Philadelphia. And I knew that the bagpipes could play the blues because of the sustaining, droning sound of the pipes in the morning. So I learned the blues on it first. So when I took the bagpipes, I was working out in West Philly, the club 52nd and Market. And it was Squeaky's, a club named Squeaky. So I brought the bagpipes in, and I took them out with my saxophone. And then the leader of the group said, what are you going to do with those? I said, well, we're going to play the blues. He said, no, you ain't. I said, well, it's just, you know. And he fired me. He fired me right on the spot. And then there was a dude at the bar said, look that you got there, boy, looking like a vacuum cleaner with hoses on it, you know. Let that boy go home and play that thing, whatever it is. Look like an octopus, you know what I mean? It's been called quite a few things. So they let me play it, man, and the blues worked out very well, man, and everybody dug it, and the rest is history.
The music was born one frozen morning in 1963. It was a very spiritual moment. I was watching the burial services of President Kennedy,
and like it was the Black Watch Bagpipe Marching Band. And the sound sort of stuck with me.
With the passion of the possessed and a set of pipes from a New York pawn shop, Harley set out on a quixotic venture to become the world's first jazz bagpiper.
He has recorded with jazz greats like Sonny Rollins and Herbie Mann, and he's made several albums, including Bagpipe Blues in 1966, Scotch and Soul in 1967, and finally, Kings and Queens in the early 70s. His most recent album, released in 1987, is Harley's Comet. He's performed for the Queen of England, and he's played to audiences both in Italy and France.
Une originalité qui fascine les musiciens, quel que soit leur style. En 1974, il enregistre avec les très grands Sonny Rollins. Les dernières parties dans cet instrument. 3 parties qui représentent successivement la Terre, la Lune et le Soleil. Et ensuite, vous avez les étoiles. Ce sont les étoiles qui jouent la mélodie. Vous les mettez comme ça, et vous avez le son des instruments, des charmeurs de serpents, comme dans l'ancien temps en Asie. En Égypte ancienne, on avait trouvé les bases de la musique. Et ce sont ces bases qu'on utilise.
Now that you've explained it all, when we watch and hear your music, we'll have a general idea of how it works. So why don't we check out Rufus Harley on Jazz Central.
He's appeared on numerous TV shows and once stumped the panel on the old What's My Line show. They did not have a clue what he did for a living.
My brother said, we're not too much concerned about the bagpipes, but we do know where Rufus Harley come from. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Rufus Harley came from North Philly.
Due to your religion, you can't, you said, you quote the scripture that you couldn't be on camera, right?
Right.
Tell me when you first met Rufus, how long ago was that, and how old was he?
Now, I first met Rufus, I was about 9. We both wound up in Kane. They call it Kane. They say Kane College, but this wasn't Kane College. It was a special school for slow children. And we met there because we both was in the same. I blew clarinet, and he had a sax. When I first got my C melody, I call it my C-me melody saxophone. My mother pawned it to buy some liquor. She needed it. At that time, she was drinking very heavy. And I looked under the bed for my horn, and she had pawned it. That was a hurting feeling. But I went back and shined more shoes and sold newspapers and got it out the pawn shop. Came home again in about a week or so, she had pawned it again. I went back and shined shoes and newspapers and got it out. At the age of 15, Rufus had to go on his own.
Lee Morgan would come down my basement. We would do duets together. We would go over Rufus' house to do duets. It was just an exchange. Reggie Workman also was among that.
And this is just my opinion, but he plays better than average tenor sax.
At the time, he was employed by the city, sweeping streets, you know, and he called and asked if he could enroll at the music student. So I interviewed him, and I ascertained immediately that young man was very gifted.
Because I was always searching, you know, about me coming from a so-called broken home and didn't have a dad.
Well, I guided Rufus, obviously, in many facets of his life, so we became really close friends.
He came in contact with Charlie Parker, you know, and so many other musicians that the Dennis Sandori has given birth to.
Well, John Coltrane, James Moody, Danny Turner.
Rufus, he always was trying to do something that everybody else wasn't doing. And we talked about it periodically. He said, well, look, you know, I'm searching for a different sound. I hear it in my mind.
When I first got the bagpipes, I said, well, what am I going to do with this? He said, well, look, don't worry about it. Once you learn the language, you can play it on any instrument. You can play it on a tissue cone.
Later, Rufus Rufus, here's Rufus with the bagpipes.
And that's when Rufus started getting his being known in the area. Rufus playing here, Rufus playing there. What? Rufus playing, And we went to see this guy, and we didn't know that Rufus was playing bagpipes. And we didn't know this, and this was a shock to us. And when this big guy come up with this little apron on me, and I walked in the door, he said, "Come over, give me a big hug." And after this occasion, he started on his philosophy.
The musician is the modern-day priest. He's the modern-day shaman. He is the modern-day monk. Me, in the word America, is the musical note, do, re, mi. The E is a 3, the M is a 3, the Earth is the third planet of the solar system. But once you say the word me, you are speaking English. Like when I went and made a tour with Sonny Rollins, I had to have rehearsals with Sonny Rollins because the bagpipes has never been played in jazz before because nobody really picked it up and played English on it. But it ain't no difference than what the brothers was doing with the saxophone or the flute or the oboe. All they doing is playing English, and English is international, and the music is international.
And I might add that he's one of the pioneers for the Liberty Bell. He gave me a Liberty Bell.
And I'd like to bring Nick, our principal, up and present this Liberty Bell to you. I've been able to take this bell all around the world to the Soviet Union, Paris, and Germany. Now, this is to the school here. Oh, hold on. I'm going to tell you, man.
I would have to say he's purchased at least 100 bells. The small bell is about $15. The large bell is about $43. Because, as I say, he's always in a hurry. He'll just say, "Watch Letterman, I'm going to be on it," or "I'm going to be on this show," or "I'm meeting the president or Hillary Clinton," or "I'm doing something," and then out the door he goes.
Well, I mean, it's stunning. I give out maybe 300 or 400 Liberty Bells a year to other people, and nobody but Rufus has ever thought to give me one. I've been broke ever since I got into that bell, but didn't nobody say that freedom was going to be cheap or that freedom was going to be free. The Liberty Bell is a symbol. The key at 4th and Market with the lightning is a symbol. The crack in the bell represents this, say, this crack right here, or the crack in your key to your house, or the crack to your room. But you got to have a key to go into the crack. Now, we're talking about life. You have the female, which represents the female, which represents the crack, which is the mother, and you have the male that represents the key. This is all we're talking about. Look, you take the key and you stick it in the crack. See? This is the crack, this is the key. Same principle. This is like the modern day hieroglyphics. Like you go into Egyptian tomb. Of course, I'm wearing my bullhorns today, which represents America. That's the bull up here. You dig? And then we go over here to our next one that represents Asia. The elephant represents Asia. You dig? And this is the four corners of the earth in which we're dealing French for yes. Kindergarten is German. So every American who started the kindergarten started into the German culture. If I say that is German, Turkey is Russia.
That is opinion of looking at it and teaching everybody English is a good point to think about, because it's true. English, everybody needs to know English, right? I think right now.
I agree completely.
Could you stand over here?
Sure.
It's
white.
Okay.
Is anybody familiar with Descartes?
I was able to do the Bill Cosby show this week. I tell them about it.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is my laboratory.
Okay.
You know, I ain't got stuff be all sexy and everything over here, you know what I mean? When I first recorded with the Bagpipes, with Atlantic Records, they didn't put the drones in it with Bagpipe Blues. Bill Cosby, man, he went crazy over it, man. Because they said, Bill wants to hear blues. I said, okay, bro, this is where we're going to do this thing. Pop. And all I did was this. And I gave him the chart, gave him the chord changes, and them brothers hit. Young musicians, man, in New York. Young musicians. They never seen them before in my life. And we hit. Bam! See? Because they knew the language. Okay, now, wait. Now see how all of it's done lit up. Now watch this. Watch this. Okay, come on now, let me see it.
Okay, Hilton, Griffin's ready. Let's go.
This is it. I hope they put it in there.
Where are you going in that hat?
I'm going to Florida, and it's not going to look as funny as you think it looks when I get to Florida. And besides, if I pack it in this bag, it'll get crushed.
It would be a mercy killing. Come on, honey.
Y'all got to cool it in there.
Yeah. You have to figure out what world he's in, and you have to be able to get into his world and understand what he's about. And that's one of the only way you're going to be able to get along with my dad. He took care of me, and he took care of my brothers and sisters, and he did everything that he could do You know, a lot of things he couldn't do. He didn't know how to be a father in a lot of ways, but a lot of things he was there. And that's why I'm here for my daughter. There was times where my dad, there wasn't enough money for everybody to get paid. He would pay the rhythm section off, and he wouldn't have nothing in his pocket, you know. And I learned that off of him. You know, instead of me just taking the money, if I do a gig and the gig is nobody gets paid, and there's not enough for everybody to get paid, I would at least pay the rhythm section off, and I would have to go home with no money in my pocket. You know, and that's real important because that's giving respect to the musicians. They will always do a gig for you because they will know.
I started performing with Rufus, I would say, around 1969. I like all the music, but I like when we do John Coltrane's compositions. I like when we do the crack.
When I'm playing, I don't even think of it as bagpipes. It becomes like a soprano sax. And it's very Coltrane-ish. And as you know, Rufus did play with Coltrane.
Scotland, they play the bagpipes on the left side. Look at Scottish pipers. I play on the right side. Okay? So I put it on my right side because I'm a righteous person.
I probably first heard of Rufus when he first started playing bagpipes in his jazz band. I'd have to say I was very depressed that somebody was using that instrument in that way.
I think Rufus would have done a lot better if he had gone the traditional route first and learned the correct techniques, how to play, rather than just going for the straight jazz technique.
The Scottish culture plays the chanter like this, on the middle of their finger, but you move your fingers up like you would play a recorder or open hole flute, and you get a better sound.
Don't get me wrong, what Rufus does probably works in his arena. That's why he's been around so long. It's just not my taste.
Damn, it didn't take long to get here. I thought I didn't know how to get here.
Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
Yeah, I thought I had to go a long damn way. They don't let me. I'm just telling you right now, I ain't gonna pay to get in this mother. The checkered flag, we got the checkered flag, the city flag, the 76 flag, and if you did
want me to play Sunny Moon for two, but you're on the bagpipe. I brought him with you. You know, I just brought him with me.
You got him with you.
I got him with you. That's if you want me to play a Sunny Moon for two.
Okay, I'll see how this goes tonight.
Sunny, man, is the one that stimulated me to be who I am today. Okay, brother.
Stay strong, man.
All right, bro.
Stay strong, man.
All right, now, peace and love, man.
Peace and love, man.
All right, man.
Behind you all the way, man.
Okay, bro.
Go there.
All right. Well, thanks for raising me. Thanks for taking care of me,
Yeah,
bro.
man. Just keep going, man. I'm watching you and behind you, everything you're doing, man.
Okay, then, bro.
You know that.
Thank you, bro.
You're welcome.
Okay, bro. Appreciate that.
Good luck to you.
All right, now, peace and love, man. All right, peace.
You're on Catharsis. I thank you for your call.
Brother Reggie.
Rufus
Hey,
Harley.
bro, you heard that C, didn't you?
I heard it, Rufus.
But just think about what independents say. You know, to be independent and then maintaining some peace. You know, a piece of this or a piece of that. You see what I'm trying to say? You can get a lot more from the word independence than you can the word free. But it's both they both two are the same thing.
What do you mean you get more? I don't know what you mean you get more from the word.
Exactly.
I wasn't agreeing. I was saying, what do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Well, see, because, well, I think that just about did it. Well, see, you know. See, because as long as you can lock it on that C.
Hold it, Rufus. I just fell off my chair. I just fell off my chair, lost my headset. Let me get back in the chair. Something went right over my head.
You see, it's just time to get out of Pampers. You see what I'm trying to say? We have got to get out of those Pampers. We got to become potty trained, and we've got to be able to get to that toilet.
No. We don't need to be trained at all. Let's not go there. The worst thing that could happen to African American people at this point is to be trained. We have been trained. We have been trucked. We have been bused. No, it's not discipline.
Discipline brings about character.
We're not talking about discipline. We're talking about abuse. We're talking about mistreatment. We're talking about slavery. We're talking about the ugly vestiges of it that continue. We're not talking about anything other than the worst possible behavior that man is capable of and subjecting others to. Horrendous, inhuman behavior. Abuse, not discipline.
Sounds like a good English jam session to me.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I don't think it could be spoken any better, bro, than the way that you just ran that down. I mean, that English jam session that you just put out there just then, oh, bro, you were cooking. Okay, folks, I just want you to know that we are getting a bell out to the Queen of England.
The supreme irony is that the Liberty Bell was a symbol of the independence that you're talking about from Great Britain.
Exactly.
It's ironic that you would then give one to the Queen.
About the incorporation.
She doesn't want one, man.
North, west, and south. That's the idea.
Okay.
Most definitely. You have to be able to play on the symbol. A symbol is a projection of sound. You ever see a big orchestra where they take this symbol and hit it together in the sound? Quite naturally.
You got 10 seconds, Rufus. We got to get out of here and do a station break.
Now remember, the Cherokee Nation.
No,
September the 6th, 1856.
Hey, Rufus, I got to go. Just take it tonight. We're not going to get into Cherokees again.
He walked his dog. He a regular person.
Okay, and how long have you known him about?
Since I was born.
My neighbors was always calling the cops on me. So, cops came to the door one time and said, look, we have a complaint that bagpipes are being played. I said, do I look like I'm Scottish or Irish to you? They said they thought it was a crank call. Everybody's proud of me. My neighbors and everything. It just shows you what you got to go through to make a difference. It's not personal. That's just the way it is. Every innovator and every eccentric artist in whatever field that they're in got to go through it. It's traditional. It ain't no big thing. I am, and I know it, I'm an eccentric artist, musician. When Charlie Parker first came through playing all fast, everybody went through it. When John Coltrane came through playing just 2 or 3 chords in Love Supreme, everybody went through it, the musicians and everybody. And I'm quite sure that John Coltrane, you understand what I mean, didn't work the way that he was supposed to be working. You understand what I mean? Because the understanding has to come along with the music.
Is one of the pioneers for like workshops and to pass information on down to young people. And I think most people, they might not be aware of that.
There isn't much available by him right now, but we're hoping that the record company would release his old recordings so that we can learn more about him.
Very interesting concepts, the way they all come together. And people should listen a little bit more to what he has to say because it's brilliant stuff.
He just likes people and likes to make people happy. I mean, what turns Rufus on is people responding to his music and to his personality and to all of the great fun things he does. And he's also a pretty fair musician.
Many musicians who are more internationally known than known right here in Philadelphia, and we have to start to do a little bit of research.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.